We talked about it Saturday night, and I was a little deep in my cups, and I was popping off. But I stand by a lot of what I remember saying. And it looks like Paul Feinbaum might agree. As Paul Feinbaum says, quote, just feels over for Bryan Harsin at Auburn. And I kind of feel the same, Aaron. This situation just feels awful. And answer this question, Aaron. And you can do this from your own perspective. If you want to get in the headspace of an Auburn fan, you can approach the answer however you want. But if you could fire Bryan Harsin today without a buyout, would you? I'm asking you.
I wouldn't. No,
Okay.
I would not fire Harsin, but I do agree with you that the writing, it's on the wall. He's going to be let go after the season. Just right now, you look at this football team. It has not been a good football team for the first 3 weeks. That was an embarrassing loss to Penn State. It was a moment watching that game and then rewatching the tape where I was like, wow, like Penn State actually has better players than Auburn. Besides maybe the running back position, where I thought, even Penn State's young running backs actually looked pretty good there in the fourth quarter. And then obviously you got Owen Peppo at linebacker, but Penn State has two really good linebackers too. Like every position for Penn State was better than Auburn, besides the running back spot. And that's not good when you're an SEC team that's supposed to be at this level and you kind of view SEC here and Big Ten down here, that you're getting whipped at home the way you did and the way it looked was just not good for Auburn fans and not good for Harsin. You throw in the fact too that Alan Green is left the building, the former athletic director for Auburn. Yeah. When a new AD comes in at a program like Auburn, an SEC school that wants to win at football, what's he going to want to do? He's going to want to bring in his guy that is his head coach that he believes in, that's going to turn this program into success in this conference. So it does not look good unless they can just completely 180 this thing or 360 or whatever number that needs to happen for them to have success. If
they do a 360, they'll end up right back where they are now. Yeah, you had it right the first time. 180.
Just a little
That's
turn.
QB1, baby. Yeah.
Math is not my thing. I can read cover 2, cover 3, and cover 4. Yeah. That's the only numbers I know in my life. So yeah, unless that happens, unless I think right now his saving number is 8, which just ain't going to happen because he's already won. You're going to lose to Alabama. You're going to lose to Auburn. So you only got 2 more on that schedule, and there's a lot of teams that look pretty good right now in the SEC. So yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think you set a pretty bad precedent at Auburn. You fired your previous head coach, who I don't believe should have been fired. Now you give a coach 2 years to have success. He doesn't. You get rid of him. To me, I just don't know, who wants that job. You got to compete against Nick Saban every year. You have to be compared to Nick Saban every year. And then now knowing that you get 2 years to do it, and if you don't, you're going to be out trying to find your next job. So, I don't know if it's because Harsin wasn't an SEC guy that he's getting so much flack, and that could be it. Like he's a guy from the Mountain West. People really didn't know much about him. He comes into SEC territory, wasn't a lot of people's first choice, was kind of up against the ropes already. It just seems like he's been fighting an uphill battle that I think maybe for him it may be healthy just to end at the end of the year anyways.
So that's my thing, right? Because I do want to push back against the idea of fit, because we talk, is Brian Kelly a fit at LSU? No, like we always say, like winning is a fit. Like if you can make a good program and win, well, that's what works. So the problem with Harsin and Auburn are on multiple fronts. First off, the situation is toxic. The booster situation, the AD being gone, the fact that when Harsin was originally hired, he wasn't even allowed to make his own decisions in terms of the staff. Like Brian Kelly got carte blanche. Like Scott Woodward said, here's $100 million. And I get that Harsin doesn't have the resume of Kelly, so that's one of the reasons why.
Yes.
But Woodward said, look, I'm paying you to go make my legacy by winning football games, and I trust that you can do that. So now go do it. Whoever you need, I'll get you the money. You just go do it. Harsin never had that sort of support at Auburn. So from the beginning, it was flawed, right? And then there are also questions that we don't know about how he does on the SEC level and how competitive it is the step up from Boise, where it's a little more, I don't know if secular is the right word, maybe insulated is the word that I'm looking for. Whereas it's much more competitive and everybody's fighting with one another. And in terms of building a program, unfortunately, what got Dan Mullen fired? Rolling his eyes at the recruiting question. Look at Auburn in the recruiting rankings right now. And I know
How are they
it's
supposed to
early,
recruit
but
though, T-Bob? How are you supposed to recruit when for 2 years all everyone's talking about is firing Harsin and he just got in the building? Like,
yeah,
if
yeah.
I'm
You
a
know whose
recruit, like
problem that
I feel
is?
like Auburn they're sabotaging themselves here.
Yes, they are.
Recruits do
But
this.
sometimes they are in what you would call a classic vicious cycle. It's like Fat
Yeah.
Bastard in Austin Powers. You know, I eat because I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy because I eat. It's the same thing with Auburn, okay? And they just can't figure it out because they just
That
keep
may be
fucking
your
eating.
that might be your best one right there, T-Bob.
I mean, it's true though, dude. It's sad but true. Like, what do you do? And it's like Auburn is right now a constant I believe it's called like a Sophie's choice, right? When both choices are bad. They are one big rock and a hard place because
Yep.
if you stick with Brian Harsin, it doesn't look like there's a lot of hope for the future. It looks like he cannot compete on the recruiting trail. Auburn is losing on the weekends as well as in the offseason. So you're like, okay, well, then we got to move on. But then everything you just said, 2 years. Again, you get rid of him. Probably never should have gotten rid of Gus Malzahn in the first place. You're paying millions and millions more in buyout money in the age of NIL, where you would much rather just actually pay kids to come to your school with that money. So no, it is brutal. And that's why I feel so awful if you're an Auburn fan. Because what is the way out? What is the way out? I mean, honestly, push comes to shove, I think you got to take like a mega long-term view on this. And I think you got to eat the Brian bullet for 2 more years. And I think you just got to see how good or bad he can make it.
Yep.
And then
agree.
you move on and you try to catch a big time hire the next time around, just to be almost like taken seriously, to make yourself attractive to coaches once again. But I don't know, dude. Actually, now that I'm saying this out loud, I mean, look at Tennessee. Nobody wanted to go there. They finally settled for Heupel, and it was kind of clowned and viewed as settling because they hired UCF's AD, and they're like, I'll just go get my old head coach, right? But Heupel's done great at Tennessee. So maybe you go ahead and fire him. But God damn. I mean, I just No, I take it back, actually. I'm changing my mind completely. I think you got to fire him. It's all about actually having Harsin for too much years.
I'm gonna wait to make that decision until after the LSU game. So they have Missouri this weekend. Missouri's bad. Like if you lose to Missouri, you know, we may be talking about Harsin getting fired middle of the season because it's going to go get even uglier from there. But I anticipate a win versus Missouri at home, and then I think the big one is going to be LSU. LSU, as we know, was not good last year. We've alluded to it. They have a new head coach, new system, new transfers, this, that, and the other. If they can come into your house and win in year one with Coach Kelly, I think that kind of shows Auburn fans like, damn, maybe we do need a head coach. And then you look after that, Georgia, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and then Alabama. So if you can't beat LSU, there's only one game on that schedule that I feel like they can win, and that's Western Kentucky there at the end of the season. So now you're talking about a team that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 wins.
Yeah.
Like
no.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened to me.
The breaking point for me. Like if you lose LSU at home, that's when I think it really starts to ramp up because I cannot find a win on that schedule. Once again, after LSU, it's at Georgia, loss. At Ole Miss, loss. Versus Arkansas, loss. At Mississippi State, loss. That's 5 straight in a row. I mean, he may not make it through the end of the season with how much they want to get rid of him if he cannot get, especially the offense going. I mean, he's still, at the end of the day, like, it's the same issue we're having with Jimbo right now at Texas A&M. You were brought in here to win, yes. But you're also brought in because you're an offensive mind. And we think of Boise State, we think of the fun plays, the excitement on offense, and we're not getting that at Auburn. So it's a double whammy. You're not winning, and your offense sucks. So why are you here? That's
exactly
right now. Like if they were scoring points and losing, then okay, at least it's fun. But like their offense sucks. It's 2 years now. The offense is not getting better. You got rid of Bobo. That was the problem. Was it?
Well, also, can we also say this though? Can we also say this, Aaron? Brian Harsin was never really an attractive hire to begin with, which is another element in all of this. Is that it felt like Auburn settled on Brian Harsin.
They took a risk like you. They took a risk like you want Nebraska to take a risk. They took a high flyer on
about
mean,
that,
he
dude.
was a
I don't
sexy
know
name in
about
the Group
that,
5.
dude.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
I think they settled on Harsin. They kept striking out on guys. I think they settled on Harsin. If Nebraska was to hire one of the guys that I was talking about, like a Chadwell, I think people would be excited. Like Auburn fans were
Well,
pissed
what's
when
a
they
better
hired
job?
Harsin.
What was a better job, Auburn post Malzahn or Nebraska right now? Because if that was the best Auburn can do, what's the best that Nebraska is going to do? I mean, you
Well,
can
I
have
think
like, hey,
look,
we want this guy, but like, doesn't mean they're going to want to go there. I view Auburn as a better job than Nebraska.
maybe. I mean, the Big Ten's hard. The SEC's hard. You could argue that's a wash. I mean, I hate sharing a state with Alabama. That just seems awful. Like, I mean, I don't know how you're supposed to operate in such tight confines. I don't know the Nebraska booster and administration situation well enough to really give an educated comment on that. I feel like I like the buy-in from Nebraska, right? In terms of fan base and money, like you'll have resources, but you have that at Auburn as well. So I don't know. I don't know why I randomly started to convince myself they should stick with Brian Harsin. I think that's really stupid. I think they probably got to hit the full reset whenever this new AD comes in. They really need Arizona State
They're
to
going
hire
to.
him. I would be calling Arizona State and be like, guys, got to tell you about Brian. Great guy. I mean, the dude is solid. Wait till you see this offense, dude.